executive editor of Wine Enthusiast magazine. First of all, I think I'm graced just to be in your presence, so thank you for coming. Tell me what that means. What is a day in your life?
I taste wine formally on a panel. I taste wine obviously just in my role. I need to know about what's happening. But I'm also in publishing, and so a big part of my day is managing the staff, working with writers and editors on articles that we're doing, coming up with ideas for new stories, trying to anticipate what the trends in the wine world are and making sure that we're writing about it. It can be anything from working on layouts with art directors to talking to writers on the phone about regions they're covering. It's a lot of different things. It keeps me interested, keeps me on my toes.
One of the biggest emergence recently that I've noticed is these super chefs and the importance of food. And as wine grows with the importance of wine in the new drinker, we're seeing this sort of cataclysmic collision of food and wine. And I know you're into that.
If you talk about food and wine as a sort of pairing, this has been going on for a long time. If you look at the European cultures, I mean, food and wine go hand in hand. You don't really find wine on a table without food. And I think this country is starting to really embrace that and understand how those things go together. And it's important for me. I'm a wine lover, obviously, but most of the time that I taste wine at home, I'm eating food with it. So I think it's really important for us professionally to remember that most people in the world, they want to know how to drink. They want you to put wine into a context for them. They don't drink wine in a vacuum, and they like to know what foods go together with what wines. And that said, I think it's great because there's so much experimentation there. There is no hard and fast rule. We've changed the way that we look at things. We have guidelines as wine people that we can give to people, but I really like for people to just try whatever they want and see what works. Whatever you like is what's right. It doesn't have to be dictated by somebody.
If you had to forecast where wine's going to go in the next decade, what would you say?
I would say that it's just going to become a much more accessible, it'll become more of an everyday pleasure. And I think, I mentioned the European culture earlier. I think in our country it's going to be very much in that direction. I think you're going to see people drinking wine every day. They will have different tiers of wines that they enjoy for different reasons, but they won't have the same fear of it. It'll be a lot more fun and probably a lot less intimidating, and there will be a lot of variety.
Susan, to be sitting here today with the executive editor for Wine Enthusiast magazine, such a thrill for me. It's probably a place I never thought I'd be. I'd like to thank you for your time today and sharing your thoughts.
Well, thank you for having me.
Cheers.
Cheers.